Hi, welcome to this episode of Herald Café, Goa. And today we've got an interesting book called Forest Birds of Goa, and it is written by Prasanna, Porob, and Omkar Dharwadkar. Thank you for coming here. And your another friend, Paresh Porob, is busy today. He couldn't come. We couldn't get him to the studio because he's busy, and he works in forest department. He's an ACF and all. And you were with the postal department?
Yes.
Yes, great. And you were with one of the founding members of Goa Bird Conservation
Yes.
Network, and you have your Murgaya expeditions also tracking. Nice. It's a great effort. Yeah, 14 years of research have gone into it, and you have documented birds that like Goans have rarely seen, and documented also how. Like you have done excellent photography. If you can see, this is Nilgiri wood pigeon on the front cover. Like you have photographed so nicely and giving the details. Also, you have recorded sounds also about it.
Yes.
So, Prasanna, first to you, my not a question, but my comment will be that how difficult it is to capture the birds. You know.
If you have a target in mind, it's very difficult to capture the bird because especially for forest birds, sometimes we want to photograph certain birds, but it's not necessary that the bird will show up that day.
True.
So you have to do your work. Homework is essential. Going to the forest is very much essential, and repeated trips after which you have to literally sit in a place. If the bird is coming down to drink water or coming to feed, you have to be there in the right time, early morning, and you never know when the bird comes. So, like the cover of
Yes.
the Nilgiri wood pigeon,
Yes.
yeah, that took me around 8 to 9 hours to photograph. It was right there in front of me, but I was sitting there at that water hole in one of the forests at 6 a.m. in the morning. So I was already there, sitting there stable till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when it decided to come down in front of me, and there we had the cover page of the
Wow, beautiful! What a
book.
story.
Yeah.
And in the last part of the book, there's a quote that goes by, "In order to see birds, it is necessary to become a part of the silence." Like how apt it is. You must be still and silent for.
Absolutely, you can't move. I tried photographing this bird several times earlier at the same place, but I moved to drink water or something.
Yes. Yeah.
So then once the bird goes, once it knows that I am there, it will never come back that day. It might come back after I leave.
Right.
So I had to try so many times, and finally on the final attempt I didn't do anything. I was just stable sitting there waiting for the bird. So
What dedication! Kudos to all of you, huh? To do. It's such a book of nature. It's like a collective of natural heritage of Goa. It's like a big archival for Goan culture also. Like very good. Omkar, maybe both of you can answer this. So I have heard that along with the photographs, you take recording of the voices and calls of the birds. How do you do that?
So, one is when you're birding in a forest, you're looking for birds in the forest area. It's necessary that you know the calls of these birds, because without the calls you are not able to spot these, because most of the time it's the calls and it's the sounds of the bird that will actually lead you to that particular species. If you do not understand this particular dynamics, then it is very difficult to at least get a lot of species. And which is why whenever we go out in the forest, we try to record as many calls of these birds as possible. Sometimes there are new recordings, new sounds which the birds produce, which we are not aware of, and which also many of these calls also tell about what the bird is doing, whether it's a alarm call, or whether it's a song, or whether it's feeding its chicks. So it is necessary to know about this aspect of the birds as well. It is not just about observing the bird while it's feeding or while it's doing its daily routine stuff. So also the sounds are very important to know about the natural history of the bird. So many of the time we just record it on our phones if we don't have any other device.
Okay.
So phones are very good recorders as well. There are several apps which you can use to record these calls, and there are recorders as well. There are small pocket recorders which we can use.
Okay.
Some of us use those recorders as well, and then professional sound recorders, they use this parabolic reflector with external mic and everything, but that is unless you are more into research.
Okay.
I think a phone or a small pocket recorder is good enough to record these bird sounds.
And Omkar, if you come across a new sound, what do you compare it with? Like, there is a big repository somewhere of the bird thing, and you compare, and then do your homework where demographically it should be. Is it endemic to something like that? Yes.
So there is a huge repository of bird calls. It's called xenocanto.org. So it's a
Nice.
it's a website which has bird calls of birds all over the world.
Okay.
But of course, there are there may or may not be certain calls of those particular birds. The best thing that we do is, generally, if we hear an unknown call in the field, we try to see if we can find the bird. That is the most surefire way to identify that particular bird. If we can't, then we record it, send it to other experts, send it to other people, or compare it with possible birds from this repository.
And this Goa Bird Conservation Network that you are co-founding member of, do you also have a library?
Yes, actually, there is a website called gbcn.in,
Okay.
which has calls of birds which were recorded in Goa itself. Most of these
Okay.
calls are recorded in Goa. It has a list of all the birds that are found in Goa, along with some of them have images, some of them have audio recordings as well as video recordings as well. So
Okay.
it's like a good reference for all the birds in Goa.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, so that is like, it's more of a crowdsourced repository, because there are images, videos, audio recordings from all people from all over.
And these 144 birds you have
Yeah,
documented.
114. Yeah.
114.
Yeah.
So all these sounds also is somewhere. They all.
Yeah,
is-
what we have done is we try to record as much possible in Goa, and then we have done the onomatopoeic
Okay.
renderings of those calls, and
Okay.
we have described them in words
Okay.
as closest to possible.
Tell me, give me an example. Sorry, I don't know if you can.
Okay,
Like, how do you write it in words? Like,
so like I'll give you the example that we generally refer to, like green warbler.
okay,
The call is
okay,
so that's how you write it. It's
Okay,
you write it
okay.
like that.
okay.
So we do chi, chu, wheat. So,
So
that's kind of like the wordings.
and then you can categorize it, whether it's an alarm call, whether it is a
It's a
they're
call or a
feeding-
song
yeah.
or
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
mostly call and songs. So in-depth analysis is like not possible at such a scale, because
Mm.
here it's more about recording the species
Mhm.
in those specific habitats which we
like
have
a
done.
very simple one would be an emerald dove, which is like just the
Okay.
long stretched
Yeah.
out.
And also in the forest that you go, you said like rarely seen birds. What does it mean? Like migratory birds, then they go out.
Yeah, it's not necessary that migratory birds come only on wetlands or something like that,
Okay.
because that's the usual
Yes,
considered thing.
Yeah.
Forest birds, lot of them, very rare ones, do come to do pass through our forests
Mm.
through the Western Ghats
Mhm.
as passage migrants, or they do come down to our areas.
Okay.
But they're rarely seen because they're very low in number,
Mhm.
and they keep a very low profile, especially if they are in evergreen forests.
Mhm.
They will not make sounds. Mostly that's what we observe, like the birds like large hawk cuckoos,
Mhm.
especially, which is a very rare bird, but if they come down, even the black baza,
Mm.
so if they're there, they will not be like calling around, or visibly, like more often they'll not be visible as sort of
What could be the reason? Because they're in a foreign territory.
lesser numbers.
So one
Yeah,
is definitely because this is not their regular area.
True.
So most of these birds can be identified by their songs, like large hawk cuckoo, these
Yes.
flycatchers.
Okay.
So they don't sing in their wintering grounds. They give a very short call.
Different
It's
kind
a different
of-
call, kind of a
okay.
call, and because they're so less in numbers, you
Mhm.
don't hear these calls very regularly, and it's
Okay.
very easy to miss out on these calls as well because you're not used to them.
True. True.
So many of these birds, because they're forest birds which can be found in denser areas,
Mhm.
unless you're very familiar with the call or you see the bird, you don't sort of know that it is there. There are several birds which can be found in our forest, which sort of are winter migrants or which pass through.
One question I want to ask both of you, like what was the inspiration, what was the first motivation to, of course writing, archiving is very good that you have done, but what, when you were growing up, what made you interested in archiving or recording the birds?
So Yeah.
Go ahead.
So first thing, like I started with school, like just had interest with biodiversity, let's say. But you know, as youngsters, we do not have the access to these areas sometimes. But as soon as I hit college, like I was going around alone mostly. In 2007, I got a job. So I started working with the department. Subsequently, the same year I met Paresh, I met Omkar as well, and we traveled a lot in mostly South Goa, forests of South Goa, Northern Karnataka, all the Western Ghat forests mostly. So the main intention was to explore. So it was like butterflies, you know, birds, spiders, everything, whatever we could see. So through this in 2009, like all the while, like I was always thinking for last 2-3 years, I was thinking like there is no proper book, like I don't want to go somewhere else other than a forest. So there is no book to cater to my need, like where is Forest Birds of whatever, Goa or Karnataka. There is no such book. So the only nearest ones which we had seen through like maybe in the libraries was Hill Birds of India by Dr. Salim Ali. So something very different in theme, you know. So someone who wants to explore only the hills, the forest. So that kind of book was non-existent here, and it was getting very difficult because you have to go through one book, you have to go through another, you have to go through a lot of things to get to know. And that was the inspiration basically to put together all this, and in the process we literally saw every other rarity which comes to the forests of Goa.
And Omkar, what is the how did you start? You are one of the founding members of bird conservation. How did the idea came up about that? Did you I know Goa is a major birding destination,
the Goa Bird Conservation Network. So I was, even though I'm one of the founding members of the organization now, I was not one of the members who started it as an informal organization. So GBCN was registered in 2015, but before that it was an informal organization for at least 10 years.
I'm sure,
So we joined much later. There were many senior birders who were sort of doing walks, doing certain outreach activities at their own level as a informal Goa Bird Conservation Network. So it came about as a sort of a branch, or I would say, so there is something called as the India Bird Conservation Network, Indian Bird Conservation Network. I don't think it's very much operational now. It was part of BNHS, which used to do this wetland bird counts, all this Asian water bird count. So through that, they sort of thought that we should name this network of people as Goa Bird Conservation Network. So that was an informal name. Then in 2015, we registered it as an organization. That time I was part of the organization.
And Goa Bird Festival you organize every year? Every year? Every 2 years?
It has been happening sort of every year. In the beginning, I think 1 year or so it did not happen. Otherwise, it's been consistent every year. It's organized by the Forest Department. We sort of partner with them. The GBCN partners with them for doing these outreach activities and the walks during the bird festival.
And you do a lot of interaction with school students. Teach them about the birds, show them videos and stuff.
So apart from the bird festival, also GBCN does a lot of outreach activities. We do workshops, we do bird walks. So we have this Sunday bird walk, wherein first Sunday of every month is bird walk at a new location in Goa.
It's going on right now?
So 7th May is the next bird walk close to Madhavi Wildlife Sanctuary.
And you advertise in where?
It's there on Facebook, it's there on Instagram. So it's open for everyone.
Nice.
We have our members group, so mostly we circulate it on Facebook and also it's everywhere.
And how many members would you have?
We have close to about 200 members. 200 plus.
But there are several others who associate and would always get to participate in the activities of the group.
And tell me some of the occupational hazards do you have when you go to jungle? I know you are taking birds photograph, but what about the snakes and creepers?
I wouldn't call snakes as an occupational hazard.
Thanks.
One thing is when you're going in the forest, you have to wear shoes. That's like it's compulsory, because there are a lot of things on the ground which you don't know about.
True.
So the only occupational hazard I would say is tick bites.
So we are not much worried about any other thing than
tick bites is the only thing that is more of a occupational hazard, I would say.
So we use like whatever we can, anti-tick mostly, some soaps or something like that pre-hand. but we try our best.
Yeah.
Then if the ticks want to, then they do come.
Of course. And give us one a memorable experience, both of you. You know, like the things that have happened while you were capturing a bird.
Yeah, okay. So
whatever is coming in your mind.
Yeah. So mostly the most memorable experience is finding the Sri Lanka bay owl. So we had been searching it for a long time, and we were nearly there in like 2020. Yeah, 2020, 21. Yeah, and we are still not finding it. So the hopes are literally like, we don't know whether we'll find it or not. And certainly we got some inputs from one of our friends, and Omkar and I were like, we are going today itself. And then Omkar will tell you what happened ahead.
Yes.
So we went to the forest, waited for it to get dark, just went, parked our car in one place. Basically we were just waiting for the owl to call, try to locate where it was. Then there was quite a bit of time, quite a few hours which passed by without the owl calling a single time. So we thought maybe it's not there today. We'll try some other time. So we went back and just thought we'll try some other open patch which is very next to that. And we just stopped there and we heard it calling.
Nice.
So that was like our ears lit up, I would say, not eyes, because of course we could not see it that time, but it was in a very dense part of the forest. So we thought, it's calling, it's close by, but we are sure that it will not come out because it prefers to live in that kind of a habitat. So we thought, should we go in, because it's a forest, it's a dense forest which has gores and all moving around also, no paths through that part of the forest. And we thought, okay, we'll not get the owl anytime it's there, let's just go in and try and see it.
Okay.
We went in and we did not know where and how we went. We just followed the call at night.
Yes.
Went in and the owl was just sitting right in front of us.
Wow. What
Fortunately, it did
experience.
not move at all. We spent a couple of minutes, just saw the owl, took some pictures, let the owl be there, and we came back. So
What
it
an
was not
experience,
disturbed
yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
It was just there. So that is like a best possible sighting that you have.
Yeah.
When
And
you
it was
don't
very
make the
adventurous
bird fly
as well.
away.
Yeah.
Wow.
It
And
was
it's
too
an-
adventurous, I can say.
Yes.
Because now we can describe it to you like very calm, but the situation there was
we
not
were,
so.
we were contemplating a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
about whether
yeah,
to
yeah.
go in or not.
Even it
sure,
was
yeah.
like, you never know what next. So
Yeah.
we might see the owl or we might see some mammal. So those chances are always there. Yeah.
True. And now that you have published this book and people are, it's getting acclaim, people are like really accepting this book, and like it should be in the libraries and stuff, and should be in the school libraries too. What are your future plans? What do you want to do now that you have collected all this? What will be your future plans?
Now that the book has gone to like mostly the people who want to read it, so
Right.
like you said, we want to go through to schools and the lawmakers, the policy makers.
Yes.
So everyone has to have a copy. That's what our thing is. So the main purpose of it is like not just for us to like, or some enthusiast to take the book and see the birds. Rather than that, there is a lot of data in the book which can also be used by the policy makers as well, which is very useful to understand like the threats
Yes.
especially.
I want to
Yeah.
come to that.
Yeah.
Like with this book, you are trying to sensitize a larger audience about the birds, their habitat, and it's like very visible in front of our eyes that habitat loss is happening. And I was reading a little bit about monocrop culture
Yes.
and felling of trees it's always there. I think 2 days back only 5 trucks got caught in Kankon, with illegal tree felling. What changes can you see? Because you've been birding for a long time, no? For like from when 2000 onwards, maybe.
Yeah,
a little-
2004 maybe,
probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6. Yeah.
So from then to now onwards, what is the impact that you can see, which is very visible to you?
Mostly it's the human impact. As population grows, the pressure on the resources
Yes.
is tremendous. So we can't blame anyone, but then as human beings, our population is rapidly growing. This puts pressure on the available resources in terms of land use. Also changes in the whole scenario, like land use pattern will change. More and more people require more land to build their houses, that's a lot of land is being converted. So these are practical issues, and fragmentation also happens along
What
with
is that? Sorry.
habitat fragmentation is also
So
like
when
common.
there is
Yeah.
when there is some kind of development or some kind of say construction or anything which
On a slope of a hill.
not a slope, which passes through a forest, like
Okay.
how this
Mall, I
Moline
think,
projects which
yeah.
are there,
Mhm.
they are passing through forest. So basically it bifurcates two areas.
True.
There's one linear infrastructure in between.
Yes.
So several species of birds and animals cannot go
Come to the other side. Yeah.
to the other side,
Mhm.
and they still try sometimes and end up being roadkills.
Yes.
There are certain species which do not cover that kind of a distance. They are very weak flyers, and also they'll prefer to stay on one side only.
Okay. Okay.
So
Even the birds that have problems with the
yeah, so
linear
there are
thing.
like babblers,
Okay.
quails.
Okay.
So some of these species are like weak flyers. They don't fly very long distances. They'll just fly for a short distance, and then they prefer to walk through the undergrowth.
Got it.
So these kinds of species like reptiles and all, they cannot really go back and forth into these forest areas. So they are restricted to a smaller area. So that basically is fragmentation of a forest.
Any particular area of Goa that you see is majorly depleting its forests? Any particular area that
The central hills, as we call them, like the midland, you can say, of Goa.
areas? Tell me.
Like maybe
From
around
Bicholi on the top.
yeah, like
So the laterite plateaus which are there, right?
In the
from,
middle, yeah. Maybe from Maye
Okay.
down south to from Betki, like around Farmagudi,
Okay.
Siddhanath,
Okay, that area.
Bethoda, so Chandreshwar, all that belt which is in the center of Goa. So what happens is urbanization mostly was concentrated on like on the
Towards the
shorelines.
shore,
Yeah.
so now it's
So now
going
slowly
Going
it's going inside, so that makes a huge impact. So
And like Goa is a major birding destination, and like more than 400 species of birds are in Goa. So do you think that that population is also will be dwindling over some time, or it will be similar because new birds will be coming?
So
Like
one is, of course, no one has done population studies of many of the species in Goa. So as far as wetlands are concerned, we do this water bird count. So some population data is there.
okay,
But with regards to other woodland species, there is no population data as such. There are bird surveys and bird counts which have been done in multiple parts of Goa, many protected areas.
Okay.
But like one-time bird count. There are no population studies of these species. So
don't you think it's important to?
it is important.
it is
Yeah.
important,
Requires a
but
lot
it's
of
very
manpower.
difficult.
It's a
as
very
well.
extensive
Yeah.
exercise.
Okay.
Requires a lot of manpower, a lot of experts to basically do it on a very continuous basis. It has to be done like week in, week out kind of. It has to be
Got
done
it, got
throughout
it.
the
You
year.
need some dedicated team. Of
Like we said, like some of the birds we found once and then nobody has seen it.
Yes,
So
yeah.
so then you know how difficult that subject is. Like to tell someone, we can't explain them the situations how we found the bird or something like that. You know?
With,
True.
with
Yeah.
habitat changes or alteration of these habitats, there will be certain birds which will benefit from that, certain
True.
birds which will not.
Okay.
So there are birds which will stay in these more degraded areas, some which will stay in like pristine areas. So there will be imbalance in the populations of birds in any ways.
It's just like the peacocks, which are visible everywhere now.
Yes, yes.
So a sure sign of degradation.
right.
But then, yeah,
Yeah.
we assume it the other way sometimes. Yeah.
True, true. And I know now that you have talked about habitat loss and writing this book, compiling this book is also a way to sensitize people. What are the other programs that you are doing to stop this conflict maybe, or to increase the birds population? Or maybe I'm not putting the question right. Maybe apart from awareness, any other thing that you are doing? Of course, you are doing your bird walks and all. What could be done? Like to minimize the impacts.
I think awareness is the
Awareness is
biggest
the
tool
key.
today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if we can make people aware, if the policy makers also can get something off the book,
Yes.
then nothing more wonderful than that. If you love something, you would love to protect it, right? So
Yeah, true.
that feeling of this is mine. So if that feeling percolates into the younger generation and the policy makers as well,
Okay.
nothing more positive than that, I feel. So
And-
we should try the positive change, I feel
Yes.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Of course, there are different
Agencies.
sectors of people working on different things.
Mhm.
So our role basically at our level is to make people aware in a positive manner
Mhm.
and spread the good message, like of why we should go in a forest.
Yes, yes.
Not just forest birds. There's so much of biodiversity
Mhm.
in a forest patch. So everybody has to go in and observe.
Maybe another bird sanctuary like Dr. Salim Ali Bird Sanctuary can be opened in South Goa.
Not necessary. So
Okay.
anyways, the forest areas are protected, most of them.
Right.
They are all wildlife sanctuaries. So
Mhm.
this naturally means they are bird sanctuaries in any ways.
Any government initiative we want to pinpoint which is really helping the birders, the whole ecosystem of bird watching and collecting data, everything, anything?
So most of these bird counts we do it in association with the
With
forest,
the
department.
Yes.
Okay.
We also, as part of these bird counts, we also see that the forest guards at that area so get sensitized about these species, about what is there in the forest that they are managing. So
Great. Okay.
basically, that's the forest department also. And bird festival is another
Yeah,
way
it's a
to.
major.
Yes, yes,
It's
it's
a
a
major
major
event,
event,
which not just involves birders, but also the student community.
True.
It's open for all. So that's one of the initiatives.
The major
also.
awareness and all happens through
is-
the forest department.
Okay. Okay.
Of course, yeah. They are the major stakeholders, of course.
Of course, they are,
everything,
yeah. And if I want to buy this book, where can I buy this book?
You can go to our website, which is intowilderness.in. So we have the link on our website,
Okay.
or you can go on Amazon as well. Forest
Okay, you're
Birds
selling
of
it
Goa
over.
is available on Amazon.
And in book stalls here?
We are trying to put it there.
Okay.
In the next few days, mostly it will be available in the bookstores.
Great.
We
in
haven't kept it
Margao
in
and
any
Panjim,
bookstores
yeah.
yet, but
Mhm.
we want to keep
Definitely
it on
will be,
all
yes.
possible
Yeah,
bookstores
because
across Goa.
because I believe more and more people should have access to this book, because
Yeah.
not only because it's natural heritage, also because it's like an asset, to
Of course, of
keep
course.
it.
We have also given the local names of birds in
Yes,
the book.
that was so cool.
Yeah.
And another great effect is that you have put your IUCN and WPN numbers,
Yes, yes,
that
yes,
what you
yes,
said.
yes.
It's very informative, very
Yes, yes,
detailed,
yes.
informative.
So the IUCN status is also, we have given the updated one,
Okay.
and Wildlife Protection Act got updated in December.
Mhm.
So the implementation was done from 1st of April,
Mhm.
but we already have it in the book. So
Great, yeah.
so we have updated it, like it is future ready, like right now. So
Mhm. Very
so
cool.
everybody can refer it as a good tool. So you
Yes.
can understand the threatened birds as well, and every other
Okay.
data.
Yeah.
So the local names, what we did is we gave it them in Devanagari,
Mhm.
and we have transliterated in English as well.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Congratulations and kudos to all three of you.
Thank you.
That
Thank
you have done such a great work of research and you are letting other people know about what you have been doing. It's a great learning experience from both of you. And I hope there should be more editions, updated edition.
Of
maybe
course, there'll
later,
be more
yes.
flora and fauna.
Yes.
Yeah, because see, biodiversity is the base of civilization.
True.
It is the base of our survival.
Yes.
So what we have done over the years is we have lost the connect with nature.
True.
So to build the connect, we need some connecting points.
These
So I
are-
think
these are the
publications
ones.
are very
Yes,
important,
very good.
because this is what we were searching as youngsters,
Mhm.
and this is what we have given to the society in our middle age, you can say.
Very nice. Thank you both of you for
Yeah.
coming, Prasanna, Omkar, and I hope to see the bigger version of this and all the best for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. I will see you again next week.